my operating system is Windows 2008. So there are various kinds of operating systems, that's Windows 8, 2012, and above, and also below that Windows 7. Likewise, operating systems also available. So now in this case, in my machine, Windows 2008, I'm going to install that one. So framework 1.1, that Microsoft product. Sometimes when you're going to install into your machine, this kind of message will be given. That, that means that when the directly when you so this kind of message will be shown. So at that time, you have to download service pack from the Microsoft site, .NET Framework 1.1 service pack, and there is guide. So you have to copy into the C drive, and you have to extract that service pack, and you have to install it in the command prompt, like this mentioned as this mentioned in here. So in this case, we don't need to install likewise because this 2008 operating system is not happening. So sometimes it happened in whatever case, if you was trouble into the installing framework 1.1, you have to download service pack from Microsoft site and download and then run that one. So now currently I am installing framework 1.1. So these are the things you have to done before you installing the setup. So now currently installing setup is installing. So now still it's installing. Okay, now installation is complete. Framework 1.1. After that, after you install the framework 1.1, then you have to go to the uh, control panel. There is programs and features, and go to the turn Windows features on or off. Now you can see here in program and features framework 1.1 is installed. Okay. Now you can add the roles here as well as features. So these roles features addings are come up with Windows 2008, Windows 2012 likewise servers, as well as Windows 7, 8 machines also there. So what I am doing is first I am adding the features, the frameworks and PowerShell. First I am going to features and click the add features. There are framework feature in here, top of that here. I am click that framework 3.1, 3.530 in this case. In Windows 8 and 2012, there will be framework 4.5, 1 4.0, so and 3.5 also. So you have to install when framework 3.5 when we install the version 8 HRM Enterprise setup. So when here I am adding the required cloud service as well as the framework, and also we want to install the PowerShell also, Windows PowerShell. Okay, then you have to press the next. Okay, press the next. Then again press the next. Then I tick the features. Then after that there is a server roles. Server roles means IIS role. So here there are some things we need to tick when we install the IIS. I will show you here. Okay, the IIS there are two parts: web management tools and web server part. In web management tool, we will go to there, management tools. Here you have to tick Metabase compatibility, IIS Metabase compatibility, as well as IIS management console. IIS management console. This one, this two. But if this two, you should check tick when you install your management tools, IIS. Then there are another part, web server part. This part in here, the common HTTP features. You have to tick these four: static content, default document, directory browsing, and HTTPS. Then application development. Yeah, you have to pick ASP.NET, .NET Extensibility, ASP and ISP. This five part. These things you have to pick. So these things you have to done carefully because if you missing something when then setup after install the setup when you browse the application there will be issues. Issues mean problems. You have to face problems because IIS does not start connected. That's the reason. Then health and diagnostics, HTTP logging and request monitoring. You have to pick these two. The security you have to take basic authentication, digest authentication, request filtering and Windows authentication. Basic authentication, digest authentication, Windows authentication, performance, static content compression. Okay, now I'll again show you what are the which I see in web server, common HTTP features, these four: static content, default document, directory browsing and security, application development, ASP.NET and ASP.NET extensibility, ISAPI extension and ISAPI filters, HTTP logging, HTTP health and diagnosis, HTTP logging and request monitoring, security, basic authentication, Windows authentication, digest authentication and request filtering, and performance, static content compression. And you must tick this IIS Metabase compatibility and IIS management console. So in management tools, you have to tick that IIS management console and IIS 6 Metabase compatibility. So this Metabase compatibility is mandatory. So don't untick that one and go further. So after that, you have to press next, then install. This will take few moments. So the currently what I am doing is I am configuring the application server for installing the setup. These things cannot done by the setup because these are OS features. So you have to configure these things by manually yourself. Meanwhile, this is going. Okay, we will let go. So now current features are installing here. So you have to patient few moments until it is installing. Yeah, Metabase compatibility is is come up with iOS 6 versions. So it is compulsory when we install in the setup because some features in our system using this Metabase compatibility. So that's why we need to Metabase compatibility. So so it is Metabase compatibility is mandatory thing. So you have to install that Metabase compatibility. Yeah, if I telling about something more about Metabase compatibility, so actually it is with IIS Metabase. So you have to when we configure IIS, it's all some kind of things are available here. Now currently IIS is installing and framework as well as PowerShell and framework 3.0 in this case. So you don't want to bother much about this Metabase because it is something about which done by the Microsoft. So we need that one. That's what we want to know. The Metabase compatibility is must. Okay, now installation is successful. Now I am closing this one. Okay, now framework is installed, PowerShell is installed, and IA is also installed now. Okay, okay. Now we delete our setup. Now I am already copied my setup into my C drive. C drive, I copied it in here. You can see that it is in zip file. Okay. Now when you extract the setup file, first of all, if you in about you have to download correctly the setup file. If you download correctly the setup file in Windows 8 and above machines, you have to copy this one the zip file into directly to D or C drive because sometimes when we extracting these files can be missing. Missing means that when we extracting, some files will not be extracted because of long path to exist in Windows 8 and Windows 2012. So when you extracting this one carefully, because this is zip file, in zip file extracting, you have to directly copy it in the C or D drive and you right click here. Then in Windows 8 and 8 and above machine, there is a thing called extract here. You press extract here. In here I am extract all, and now I am extracting my setup file. Carefully extract this one. If there is any message arrive when you extracting this setup file, you have to extract it again, because if it is not extracted correctly, you cannot completely install the setup correctly. Okay, I will repeat it again. Okay, setup we will share with you guys after this session. So now I'm going to show you how to install this setup. The setup will nearly 1.17 GB setup file. So please correctly extract the setup. If there is any message arrive, once I tell you again, arrive once this setup is extracting, you don't forward, because setup will not install correctly. So extract it correctly, copy into C or D drive, and press extract here. Then go to the installation. Now I am extracting files. The setup extraction pass also important. So the setup file we will share you later. After this session, we will share the setup files. So currently the setup is extracting. It say take another 25 seconds. Okay. Now setup is extracted correctly. Now you can see the files. There are files and different kind of files are available. What you have to do is don't bother about these all the files. Just double click the setup.exe files. Double click it. Okay, now you can see what there are PVC files. There are PVC sheets available. Okay, now okay, now I am going to install this one. What you have to do is just press this install button here. Now it will install all the pages you have to install. That means the setup will automatically install these things. This will take another 10 minutes to install all the PVCs. Now I am going to show you from everything from the beginning. Once when setup is how to complete the setup. So first I will go from the beginning. First you have to complete the application server. Once you complete the application server, you have to install the framework, come up with the application server and .NET Framework 1.1. Don't forget about it. Then PowerShell. Then IIS. When you install IIS, please remember there are things, ticks you have to put carefully. There, I show you. So likewise, you have to complete IIS and framework parts and PowerShell part. So these are mandatory things. So actually these things can be vary from the OS to OS. In this my OS, I am installing framework 3.0 and PowerShell. So sometimes when you install the operating system, PowerShell will be automatically installed. So at that time, you don't want to bother about installing the PowerShell as a feature. If it is does not install, you have to go to control panel and move programs. Then here, there as a feature, you have to install the PowerShell as well as framework. Then IIS. So once this are installing, you have to you maybe need to restart the machines because these configurations to affect you have to restart several times after I think after installing framework 3.5 so spec 1 this is my virtual machine, it will be restarted. Now currently framework 3.5 is installing. It will take some moment actually. Now its service pack is installed 3.5 service pack 1. Actually the Windows 8 and 2012 this thing will not be come up with setup. It's all setup is just showing you setup because those are already come up with feature 8 and 2012 like machines. So these if it is installed already installed, this thing will not be shown here. If it is not installed, it will be shown in this form. Okay, now 3.5 service pack 1 is installing. So it will also take another 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, this will take some minutes. So it will take some around 20 to 30 minutes because all the things need to be installed correctly. This is these are the prerequisites parts in this for the setup. Yeah, 4.5. No, yeah, no. Framework 3.5 is the liquid one. If you take Windows 8 and like OS, there are framework 4.5 framework. So don't need to install that one. 3.5 is enough for version 8 HTML. Yeah, yeah. 1.1 also required. Must it is must. The framework 1.1 is must. If you only install framework 4.5, 1.1 will be come. Only 2.0, 3.5, 2.0 and framework 4 will be coming. Then if you go to, I show you in the my computer. See Windows. See Windows. I think you can't see that. Yeah. That if you install framework 4.5, if it is already got 3.5, then not need to install 3.5, but 1.1 need to install. It is must for the Windows version 8. It is must one. So I show you that if it is any trouble installing 1.1 framework in the 2012 like servers, you have to download service pack from the Microsoft site. Then there is a guide in the Microsoft site also how to install the framework with service pack 1. If you follow that one, you can install the framework 1.1. Yeah, no, again, it's obsolete, but yeah, we can install setup rather than C drive. In this case, I have only my C drive because in this machine only C drive is available. So if it is you have D drive, you can install setup in D drive also. D, E, whatever drive you can install. Now still I am not going to install how to installation part of the setup. Now I am in the pages and configuration part. Yeah, MS chart is something come up with the framework. The framework there is something called MS chart for the chart drawing and kind of things we have in our system. For that one, we need to install MS chart. Still framework 3.5 but one is installed. So this will take some minutes actually because these things we need to configure. So I cannot skip and go this part also because uh, this is that will be now installed in this So I will show you implementation. So I will show you about that our installation guide. While that this part is happening, configuration part still is going. So I will show you that about our. Okay, I will show you about that installation guide. I think you everyone will be received this guide yesterday. That mail was mailed to you everyone. Okay, uh, that means installation guide. Yesterday I think everyone will be received that part. This is not the installation. Okay, okay. In here also available what are the PED sheets that information service Windows installer 3.1. This Windows installer 3.1 you need when you installing Windows XP like machines. So our system is support Windows XP Service Pack 3 and above. Windows XP Service Pack 2 does not support, but 3 and above all the operating system is supporting. Uh, then framework 1.1, 2.0, and 3.5. Actually, we don't need to 4.0 framework for the Champions version 8. 3.5 is enough. Then Evil, Ajax 1.0, this is password helper, and PDF creator, MS chart control, PowerShell 2.0, and Crystal report XR2. So, and then if you think about web application servers, you have Windows Server 62-bit 2008 like first thing. And database servers, it is support Microsoft SQL Server 2008 and above 2012 8. It is good. It is need to have 64-bit of database server version. 64-bit. Okay. So if the machine is 64-bit, please install a 64-bit SQL Server database version. And Oracle side also supporting. It is 10G or 11G. It is support. So okay, everyone can see my screen because please, if you cannot see, please reply me. Okay, everyone can see my screen. No. Okay, can you see that there is a 1.2 database server part? Okay, there are SQL Server 2008, 2012, 62-bit. and Oracle 10G or 11G are true. Okay, we got the okay now. Installation is okay. Framework 3.5. Now it asks to reboot the system. That I am going to restart my virtual machine. I press yes because that configuration to effect you need to restart the machine. Meanwhile, I will generate license file for setup. If you want to this. Okay, now configuration also this machine is starting. It's complete. Okay, now it is restarted. Okay. Now after that, the pending remaining thing will be automatically come up. Now you have to install that MS chart, security configuration, and other things. So please install those things again. Now MS chart also installed. Yeah, if we think about framework 3.5 and 4.0, major difference, it is actually the framework 3.5 also come with Microsoft. So 4.0 also Microsoft product. So these are frameworks is the different part. So actually we framework 3.5 is enough for our system. Version 8, version 8 system. Now DBGM is also installed. Now Ajax 1.0 is installing. Uh, these things will be installed, set up by self automatically. So you have to be wait few moments until those are installed. Meanwhile, I copy the license file. The license file also something you need to install, need request that setup. If you want to install this setup, you have to request this license file from Ask Zenith. Okay, now Ajax also installed, now Parser Delphi installed, now Crystal report. It's IR2.NET 2005 7. So Crystal report also need when you are giving the reports. So it's also automatically installed by the setup. Now currently Crystal report is installing. So you can see here it is installing. Yeah, in here we only install the reusable package. That means we don't need to everything in the Crystal report. Only the some parts of Crystal report, that Crystal report, likewise things are installed here. So license is not required for this one. Actually, that only the reusable package is installed. So the Crystal report development tools, likewise everything is not doing. Only the reusable part, that component. Yeah, I think it is free. You can install it. It is free to install. We don't give any license here. It is just installation is good. Yeah, actually framework 3.5 and 4.0, this is okay, framework 3.5 and 4.0, the frameworks difference actually that it is with the development part. Actually that when we developing the system, the machines frameworks is the difference that we consider about 3.5 and 4.0. In this case we are installing framework 3.5. So it is uh, enough for our system in the German voice version 8 system. Okay, now after Crystal is installing, you will see this kind of form. You have to agree and install. Don't change anything. Just install this one. So also next, I agree and install to cat. Yes, next install. Just press next, and finish. Okay, now previous installation is over. Now we will go to the setup part. Setup is come up now. So okay, if we tell about something about this setup, this is you can install multiple instances using this setup. That means you can install any number of EHRs, time enterprise systems in this using this setup. So I will show you how to install this first one. Now after that one, this forms will be arrived. I'm pressing next. So there is agreement. We press accept and next. Okay, now in here you need to give the license file. In the license file, you have to request from Zenith. Uh, After you receive this license file, what you have to do is press this browse button. Press this browse button. Then go to the C drive. Then now in my license, I copy into C. This is LIC file. So what you have to do is just browse and click this license file and press open. Okay. After that, press next. Okay. Now you can see this is RDBMS configuration part will be shown here. Here you have to mention what is your database type first. I am using SQL Server for this demonstration. I am using SQL Server here. Then in here server name you can type here. Okay. Now this server application will be something separate from the application server. That means it can be something another OS and application server can be another OS. That means two machines will be there. For the database server, there will be one machine, and application server, there will be one machine. So when we configure the database server name, you should give the that whatever server name you give here, you give to the server. So when you configure the database server in SQSI, he is configuring the mixed mode authentication. That means Windows authentication and the SQL Server is a mode authentication also by putting these two. I am not going to show you how to install the SQL Server because it should be installed in your machines or whatever. So in here I am going to server name as my machine LPC. In here you must give your system admin user ID. This is the SA. Okay, now the SA can be you can give something another account. You can create another account similar to the SA, but it should account should have sysadmin permission. I mean this. I will open my management studio here. SQL management studio. Now I'm going to server connection. Okay, what I tell is when you create another account, separate to the SA account. So that account should have sysadmin permission. That means you can go to the piece. There is a server roles here. Okay, there is a server roles. There is a public and sysadmin permission. So in this sysadmin, you must view to the whatever account you creating. Public and sysadmin account roles you should view to the whatever account. So uh, that kind of account should be mentioned here. Now I am going to give my SA and I my SQL Server SA password here. Can give here. Then what you have to do is just validate this one. Okay. Now if it is successfully verified, you can see message SQL Server connection successfully verified. Now I am okay. Okay. Now after that, there is database catalog, database user ID, database password, and database creation path. Catalog is the database name which is creating. So don't create any database in SQL Server. The setup will automatically create the database. Now these are the databases. Database name, catalog name is this database name. Okay. Now I am giving my database catalog name as V8 demo P5 as P5. Okay. So when you give in, don't give any existing database name here. It is also verified here. If it is not giving, you cannot continue to the next. Okay, then I'm giving inside here as a same and password also I'm giving same. Whatever password you can continue here. Then database creation path. Okay, now don't uh, forget this one because if you in application server don't give path in your application server path because database is something else somewhere else. If it is somewhere else, please give the database server available folder path. That means here that I mean here. Now in this case I am in virtual machine. My application server is this virtual machine. So if I minimize this is my database server. So in database server path you should give it. That means D drive. If I take my SQL Server data files in here. If you give any path in your application server, this will not be validated. You cannot go to the next. You cannot continue. I mean, if you give that in your application server path, you cannot continue. So what you have to do is, please give the your database server available driver and folder path. It should be in database server. If it is something fresh folder, please create text files and temporary text files in the folder. Don't keep it as empty folder. So don't typing here. Okay, now this is my database creation path. Okay, after that you have to keep this press next. Okay, now you can in your region there is a country list what you can see here. So whatever when you install this setup, please select your region here. Now some regions will not be available so far in here. In future we will include this also. Now I am in this in this scenario I am selecting my region as Australia and I press next. Okay, now there is another thing, text box, the application pool name and host name. I will show you what is this too. Open the run and press inetmgr. This is something we installed previously, that is IIS. That is console, IIS console. So application pool is this one. You can see this application pools. So don't create application pool and give here. Setup will automatically create the application pool also. So don't give existing application pool, and also this host name is something come under default website. Okay, now I am giving application pool as and host name also I am giving same one. Okay, that's okay. Then press next. Yeah, DB password is the password. Database password mean, I think you may ask that user ID password. So user ID password is the password when you need to connect to the SQL server with your user account. That means this. If you create any account here, login account, this account should have password. SQL server user ID password. This password. This password is the thing which I mentioned earlier. So it is the database SQL Server login password. It is not database password. It is actually database login password. Okay, now I am going to install this into C program files and in HM Enterprise. Now I am not going to change this one. You can change here. If you want to install this into the separate D drive or somewhere else, you can change from here. Change from here. So I am pressing next here. Okay, now it is okay. Yeah, actually framework 3.5 you cannot install in Windows 10 because Windows 10 8 these framework 3.5 come up with the operating system. So you need to add as a Windows feature. Okay, now it is okay. Now I am going to install. Press install button. Okay, first part is database part. Now you can see that it is creating database. It is actually our system is module based system. Module based system. So uh, it's creating each and every module here. At this time, please don't disconnect your network. If there is any trouble with your network, database will be not create correctly, because if application server is here and database server is somewhere else, between that application server and database server, connection it will be lost. So database will not correct directly. So error message will be from. So you don't continue then cancel the setup and beginning from the first. I mean, just double click the setup and from the beginning go forward. So if any message is come up here, if there is any critical message is come up here, that means by message giving as we cannot create the database, please don't continue setup. If it is partially create the database, you cannot continue the system correctly. So you have to wait until setup is created correctly. Now it is creating the database from the module by module. Now it is creating EIM. Likewise, it will create the database. You have to be stay a few moments until it is creating. It is going. Also it is going. Char module command. Okay. Another thing, when you give the license file, what I showed you that LIC file, when you go to browse and give, don't keep it in the network share path. That means it is a if you give it this with the slash whatever your machine name, likewise it will not be taken. So please copy into the application server, directly to the application server COD drive, and from there please browse that and use the license file. Okay, now if you have any question, you can ask until this is going. If you have any questions, you can ask now until this is going. Now it is module by module. It will create your database with your that script now. So if you have any question until this is setup is going, you can ask from me. Any problem is there, you can ask for what I done until this. Yeah, minimum requirement is 3.5. You can use the framework 4 and 4.5 also if it is 3.5 is available. Yeah, if folder is empty, please, in any case, if you're creating a database, you have to give that database folder path. If you create a fresh folder, that means like this. I will show you. If you creating fresh folder, like I create folder. Okay, if you create new folder, likewise folder 2, and if it is empty, please create a right click here and create new text document here, because if you don't keep it as an empty folder, this it will not be identified by the setup. So just create a new text file and just give some file if it is there. That enough. And also this folder should have that means SQL Server SA should have permission to create database in this folder also. This means this folder should have SQL Server permission. Otherwise, database will not be created. Okay, now database is ongoing. It will take another 2 to 1 minutes to finish this database creation. After that, application will be hosted. This is the database creation part. Okay, it's finishing. will take another 1 minute. It will be finished. Now let's go. Okay, now database creation is done. Now it will go to the application configuration. This also will take another 2 to 3 minutes. It will copy that files, application files into the your folder path, and it will host separate simultaneously. That application copying and hosting will be done simultaneously. While it is installing, you can see here now hosting also happening. Pool created here. Create demo file likewise. Now your site also creating here. This one what we do here. Another thing, when you installing this one, there are something called default app pool in your application pools. Default app pools will be there. So this default app pool is something by default come up with the IIS. So in here, please go to advanced settings, click the default app pool, advanced settings. You can see this, if it is 64-bit machine, you have to enable it to the 32-bit pool. Now in this my scenario, it is 32-bit machine. I will show you in my machine, it is 64-bit one. If your machine is 64-bit one only, please go to the iNet manager. In the iNet manager, application pools, there are default app pool. There is a default app pool, default application pool, and click the default application pool. In the right side, you can see basic settings, recycling, and advanced settings. Click the advanced settings. There is enable 32-bit application. If it is false only, this one is like this. Please click into the true, because our application is a 32-bit one. So the default pool also should be in 32-bit mode. So don't bother about that. Our given application pool, this one, create demo T file. This is the something created setup. It will be 32-bit automatically. So only default pool change into 32-bit. And meanwhile setup is going, go to C drive and create folder in here. Create folder temp image files. Folder called temp image file, because this is need to our application only. The setup need does not need, but application is needed. So just create temp image files folder in C drive. That is enough. So now setup is ongoing. Installation is happening. after setup install, you can browse the THRM. I will come to that after the setup installation. So until till that, I will go to our demo site and show you our EHRM after that. I will go to our already hosted demo site. This kind of thing will be come after you install the system. So what you have to do is then you have to after install the system, you have to put the employee first. What the employee log with admin A account, admin user ID admin, password is A. Then with that account, after go to that one, you have to go to this in EM administration. First, you put province, district, location, these things. Because if it is fresh database, uh, only you have to create. This is already created one. Data is available in this demo site. In our fresh one, you have to first employ the first uh, install the employee first. So what I am doing is first go to this province, create a province here. Already available here province. Then you can go to the district, create a district here. Okay. Then go to the location, create a location here. Then go to the company hierarchy, create your company name as according to your def levels. Now it is group, what is your group name, the sector, what is your sector. Likewise, create your company hierarchy. Now I'm showing is what is the order. When before you go to put the employee, this order you have to create your go to the game administration first, then you have to configure these things. Okay. Please put two company hierarchies actual minimum that we your group name and sector. Likewise, please give two hierarchy nodes. Then you have to go to the cost centers, salary grade, corporate title, designation. Okay. Now you have to create this. You have to go to the YAM administration part. Then you have to create these things. That means that if it is in your according to your location, the countries list will be already available. Then you have to create province, district, these things. Then then location and company hierarchy you must create. Location in here, company profile and company hierarchy. These are the mandatory things we need when we creating the employee. So that's why I am telling. Other things also you can create, but these are mandatory things. Then center, salary grade, corporate title and designation. You have to create salary grade here, corporate title here, and designation from here. Then after creating those things, you can proceed to the create employee. In here, you can go to the employee information. Then this is employee information is there. Okay, now you can create new one in here by press new one, and this orange or this color, this color things. These are the mandatory things. So you have to put those things and create an employee here. Now setup is installing still. Okay, meanwhile, now after you create employee, what you have to do is you have to create a DB group. When we go into the due to the users, that means just assume this company have 200 employees. After you create employees, if you want to give the grant to the each employee separately to that system, you have to create a group. That group creation is done by advanced security. Now setup will automatically install this advanced security into your desktop. What you have to do is just double click this one. Now you have to configure system settings here. Database type is SQL Server. Database version is I am putting 2005 as. The server name, my server name. Database is the database which we created, which you give to the setup. That is create demo p5 is the my database name. Then use ID also create demo p5. Password also this one. Default table also this one. Temporary table is not does not require to the SQL Server, but I am giving it as temp. It is need only Oracle. The system ID should be 806. Now I am putting 8 here. Entity authentication 0. Entity authentication is 0. Allow custom ID is 0. Disable account password 0. Master group user ID is my user ID. Then manual user creation also 0. These are the advanced settings. See now how about setup. Okay, now progress is fine. Okay, then you can connect with this administrator with A. Password is A. Okay, now this is advanced security. In here, you have to first to any new user, you have to create these things. Now I'm going to before that one, you go to these tools. Just this check password is working. Okay, encryption is also working. Just check that one. Go to the tools, encrypt password, and give the user ID and password, and check whether encryption is happening. Then you say, okay, this configure DB objects. Go to that one. In here, you can see all the objects in your website. Select all the things here. Put into the your other side, right side. Okay, setup also now going to be finished. Okay, now objects are in your right side. So now you can create your report capability here. First, press new. Just give your report capability name. Then save it. Then code create one capability. New. Save it. Okay, it's okay. Okay, now setup is finishing. Now one capability also created. Then go to the capability. Okay, now capability new, press save. So capability also created. Then what you have to create is new group. Just here next your group name, then description, then group user ID and group user password. Select the capability what you create in previously. Then press save. Group. Now this after setup progress is going, this kind of boxes will be there. It will keep another 1 minute because that all the configuration, XML configuration also doing here. This database writing and these things. So please be patient here and wait another 1 minute. After this setup is okay, finishing, installation is done. Okay, now group was successfully created. Okay, press okay. Then go to the next, then finish. Then group will be created. It will take another 15 minutes to create a group. Now we will wait until this. Because this in this part the permission also granted in your folders. Folder permissions is granted and database required configuration is writing. These things will be happening in this form. Okay. Finish, setup is done. Now you have to launch the application here. Then you can go to this one configuration guideline if you want. Then you can next and finish the setup. and it's browsing. Okay, now so now press the admin. Password is A. So actually, this virtual machine resolution is not good enough. So that's why some things are partial. So okay, that's everything about installing the setup. What you have to do is after that, as I showed you previously, go to the game admin part, then go to the enter that cost centers and company hierarchy detail here there. Then create employee here. Then go to the advanced security. As I show you, create report capability, button capability, and group. Then finish that one. Then create a user. After you create employee, put the employee into your system, create the user from advanced security. Then you can connect with that user, advanced user into the system. So okay, that's the everything about this. You can go to the CM admin as I show you. This is the fresh one, fresh installation part. So because of fresh installation, you have to create everything from the beginning in here. Nothing, no data is available, but this country and default data will be available, country list and everything. So you have to go, as I tell you previously, create province, district, then the location, company hierarchy, cost center, corporate title, salary grade, designations. Then after you create those things, create the employee, then go to the advanced security, edit, create a new group. In that group, create a user and log with that user. That's all. So if you have any doubts, please uh, email us. We will reply for that one. So that, okay, after this session, we will share the setup file with you guys. So that's all.
Hi everyone. If there are any questions, you can send it through. We will be sharing the setup file after this session. So you all can do the installation as what Chintaka showed you today. If there are any questions, any trouble in installing the system, just send us, just email us. Hold on.
Yeah. After you install system, default data should be these things. These are the mandatory things you want to install before you're going to insert the employee. The mandatory things are location, company hierarchy, cost center, and salary grade, corporate title, and designation. When you create the locations, these things you need to promise district countries. Like these are the mandatory things.